Hello everyone, Kieran from Speaking Spurs here with your daily update. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel, like and feel free to comment, and we will keep that conversation about the club that we know and love going. So let's jump straight into it today with some team news for the upcoming cup match against Burnley, which is tomorrow night, and there'll be a little bit of information coming about that tomorrow day before the game, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. But talking about team news, Matt Doherty is back in the frame, so he's been out injured since he got injured on international duty. He's back in training, ready to play the game. I don't know what part he'll play in the game, but by the sounds of what Nuno said, he will be involved in some capacity, whether that's from the beginning or on the bench. The other bit of injury news, just to talk about, Ryan Sessegnon. As I said, there's no time frame on when he's coming back. He is still out injured, still no update whatsoever on him. Nuno was asked about the squad that played the game against West Ham and would the majority of them be involved in the game against Burnley, and he said basically yes. Now the gist from what he said is that all the players in the squad are working hard, yada yada yada, the sort of jargon you expect him to come out with. But he basically said some of the players that, and I think he was aiming it at the players that have been involved in the Europa Conference League. He was saying that some of those would expect that they'd be getting more minutes in the game upcoming, and some of them it would have the expectations that they deserve more minutes than they've been getting so far this season. But he said it's up to us to manage these situations individually and looking at the best partnerships. So what I get from that is basically he's going to go stronger in this cup fixture than he has done in the Europa Conference League so far, which came back to bite him in the backside. So I think he's going to go stronger, and he's basically saying to those players, you expect to play, but you're probably not going to be playing the majority of you. So we might see a heavily strong side with maybe some fringe players coming off the bench, depending on whether we get the job done early enough, or we may see just a couple of the fringe players involved to keep the balance of the squad. Next up, Paul Robinson, our former goalkeeper and England's number one, has come out and said he will never criticise Lucas Moura for the way that he plays. Now, I agree and disagree with this. It's almost with me like the Lamela situation. I suppose Lucas Moura to him is what Eric Lamela was to me. He's basically saying that he gives everything for the team, and against West Ham he just had a bad day in a team of players that had a really poor day. He's saying that it doesn't help that the team has no identity or style. Players don't seem to know what they are meant to do or how they are meant to play. But he said from Lucas Moura, you always get 150% from him. Don't worry, we won't go into the fact that is mathematically incorrect, but whatever. He has energy with and without the ball, and it is second to none. And that's what I had with Lamela. Even if he was having a bad game on the ball, he always worked hard off the ball, which is probably why he picked up so many yellow cards, his tenacity. He wouldn't take this giving up nature. He was more of a never say die kind of guy. He always wanted to be in the game in some capacity, whether that just meant hassling the opposition, fouling them when he had to. And Lucas Moura sort of gives that without the real tenacity and bite. He's a busy player. He will chase and chase and chase. He's like a dog chasing a ball. And then when he's got the ball, he gets excited and runs into so much traffic, it's unbelievable. So, I kind of get why he says he wouldn't criticise him. I do think that he needs a better end product. That is my main criticism of him. But I think when you're playing at the speed that he plays at, and dribbles the way he does, it makes it very hard to make these decisions because people just aren't moving at the same pace that he is. They're not as far forward as he is. I don't think they know where he's going to go because he doesn't know. It's not pre-planned. He's a reactive player. He'll start moving, and when players then come in and press, it changes the way he's going to go, and then he takes it from there. He's a very on-the-cuff kind of player. And I love him, and I feel like he has so much more to give. He's got the potential to really push on, but I don't think the fact that he always gets overlooked for the international squad has helped his confidence whatsoever. There's players that I feel haven't been as good as him that make it into the squad. For example, I know he's a different position, but Fred at Manchester United, he plays very poorly for them, gets in the Brazil squad and plays really well. You could argue Giovanni Lo Celso with Argentina doesn't play that great for us, gets into the squad for them, plays really well. Maybe Lucas Moura is somebody that could be of the same ilk where he gets selected for Brazil and as an absolute worldie, that confidence comes back and then he's better for us. I don't know. What else? A little bit of transfer news. Sevilla are the latest club to be linked with Tanguy and Ndombele. So there's been little links to Real Madrid, heavy links towards Barcelona, possibility of loan because they can't afford to buy him out right now. Now it's Sevilla, and obviously Daniel Levy has a good relationship with them after the negotiations over the summer between Brian Hill and Eric Lamela. So he understands how transfer negotiations would go with him. I do understand that if Tanguy is going to move on, we have dropped our valuation from the 60 odd million that we paid for him. It would be somewhere between the 36 and 50 something million pound mark. I think we're hoping if someone does come in for him, there'll be a little bit of a bidding war because the ability's there. He definitely suit the Spanish league, like without a doubt. Because it's a little bit less physical, and I feel like that's where he kind of misses out. If he gets knocked to the ground, he don't get up. Probably wouldn't get fouled anywhere near as much, so that league would suit him. I still don't want to see him go because I think he's got more to give. He's just very frustrating. I think he just needs a manager that completely backs him and constantly plays him because there's a massive talent in there, and I know I keep saying it, but there really is. Some of you may have seen a social media video that has been circulating from Tottenham Hotspur. They love putting out their training videos. There's been a lot of backlash from this one because Dele Alli gets outpaced by one of the coaches. Now, that's not what you want to see from a professional athlete. I don't know whether it was due to lack of effort. We know that Dele Alli apparently is a lazy trainer from the documentary that was done. So I don't know what it is, but it's angered some fans. And to be fair, why would the club post a video where a member of staff outpaces somebody that is meant to be one of your first teamers? Ridiculous. PR and stuff like that. We've just not been great with it whatsoever, Spurs. It's been really frustrating. Now, the last story we're going to go with today I think it's the Sun that have now reported it. So off the back of the Europa Conference League game, there was an interview from Harry Winks, and he kind of let out some frustrations and essentially alluded to the fact that there is a divide within the team, a first team and a second team. Now, the Sun, and this is the Sun, so it doesn't mean it's necessarily true. They're quite good at picking up stories and making them bigger than they are. But off the back of that, the Sun are claiming that leaving the 11 players at home for the Europa Conference League game caused an unnecessary divide within the club. It essentially let all those players know that were travelling for the European game that none of them would be involved in the game against West Ham, irrespectively of how they played in that game, no matter how good they were. And I mean, they weren't great. So based on their performance, they wouldn't have been playing anyway, apart from possibly Davinson Sanchez. But we knew it was going to be Dyer and Romero anyway, because you want your two starting centre-backs to build a relationship, so we can't chop and change as much as Jose Mourinho did. I felt like that actually affected us quite a bit last season. So, I mean, he wasn't going to get in anyway. However, it did send a clear message that I'm leaving all these guys at home. Most of them I don't need to rest because they weren't heavily involved in the international break, but I'm leaving them at home anyway. And it just sent a bad message. It's created... I mean, I can't say it for sure, but in my eyes, that would create a negative atmosphere at the club because you've got these first team players, you've got your second team players, and then below that, you've got the players that are sitting on the bench for the second team of players. A lot of them in the under 23, so they're not going to mind. They're getting experience of travelling with the squad, but they're not in amongst the elite level players of the squad. They're with the people that are classed as second string. So, there's going to be a bit of animosity within the club. I think a lot of people probably don't appreciate the way Nuno does things. Apparently, he's a very private and quiet person. That's something Tanguy Ndombele's come out and said. He was asked questions recently about his relationship with Jose Mourinho and the season that he had, and he said different coaches offer different things and you have to respect it. He said the conversation with Daniel Levy that we saw during the documentary actually helped him because he spoke about the frustrations of Moussa Sissoko when he first joined Tottenham and wanted to leave, and ended up going on to be a big-ish player for us, certainly during the Champions League run anyway, and that season. But Tanguy was saying he actually didn't mind Jose Mourinho's outspoken views, his honesty, his opinions, and in the end he actually become one of the most important players under Jose Mourinho. And he was saying that he likes the way he works with Nuno. Nuno's quiet, he keeps himself to himself, and that can be a massive problem within a club of Spurs' stature, especially we're trying to rebuild. You need a manager that's somewhere in between him and Jose Mourinho. I think you don't want someone that's too outspoken that digs out the players, but at the same time, Nuno doesn't dig out the players. He's very inward in press conferences. He doesn't like talking about individuals. He doesn't really give us anything. And by the sounds of it, he doesn't really give the team anything. I should imagine there's not enough one-on-one honest conversations. People don't know whether they are or aren't going to be played. And obviously this leaving 11 players at home rested for the Europa Conference League game let everybody in the squad know what was going on. And I think, a lot of these players would prefer an upfront, honest conversation about what is going on with their careers, as and when they're going to play. Are they going to be able to force their way into the squad? And by the looks of it, no. So, sorry to leave it on a negative note, but however, we have got the upcoming game in the Cup. Hopefully we can progress with a stronger squad, which would be nice. And, some of the fringe players being mixed in with the so-called first team might help them buck their ideas up. If they can come on the pitch, might be able to wiggle their way into that, I wouldn't say into the first team, but certainly give themselves an opportunity for some more game time going forward. So that's it for today. Thank you for sticking around for a daily Spurs update. I will be coming at you again tomorrow before the game, so make sure you check that one out. Hopefully I'll get that recorded on my lunch break tomorrow at work, and it should be with you before 5 o'clock. So give it a little check out before the game. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment. Stay safe, and until tomorrow, guys, come on you Spurs.